sports fans from all around the globe. I am your host, Jeff Dawson, East Coast Sports Investors, and this is the closing bell for Monday, January 24th, 2022. As myself and my co-host, Mr. Scott E. Webb, get you closer to opening tip-off, opening face-off. If you were following us this morning on the Breakfast Bankroll, we talked at length about yesterday's NFL games and actually talked a few opening numbers. We got 6 days to peel that carrot and that onion layers back, and more back as we get closer to Championship Sunday. But we got a few NBA games on tap today. We have quite a few college games and a handful of NHL games. Not a big board, so this might be one of our shorter closing bells, but there are some games. There are a few that caught our eye at least. So without further ado, the man from the Palm Tree State himself, the one, the only, Mr. Scotty Webb. What is up, Scotty?
Mr. Jeffrey, how are you today, my friend?
Well, I jumped from the Breakfast Bankroll over to LA for a quick, it was supposed to be 45 minutes, end up to be an hour and 20 minutes. And just powdered up for the last 18 minutes, and we're back live here from Cape Cod, Massachusetts. Well,
that's the day in the life of what we do, right? I mean, I'm just going to say this, just because I think it's the right thing to say. I think that you have incredible patience to be on a show like that, and I always hope the best for you while you're on that show, because I know what that's like.
Any airtime they say is good time. I wish they had hang time like Michael Jordan, though. How's that?
Yeah, that's a good way to put it too. I mean, no disrespect. I'm not trying to be disrespectful, but I mean, at the same time, it's just it's for our business and what we do. And we were just behind the scenes talking about being very clear and having some clarity to a lot of things that we talk about. And we know that people listen. So sometimes the rants and things that we go on, or the different things that we say, can be meaningful to some people and they're not meaningful to others. And a show where it's a bunch of rambling and blah blah blah, it's hard to stay a professional, and you do that very well. And hats off, because I'm a scenario where I think I'd kill that guy. But anyway, that's all one water under the bridge.
And you did make a statement, and I do want to clarify this. A lot of the rants, I like to call them sermons, because there's a lot to get off the chest when you are in these seats. Meaning, when I decided to go public, I didn't have to go public. I wanted to go public because I thought I had a lot to offer, and we do have a lot to offer. We're not in the entertainment business. I always say we save that for ESPN and Fox and all the wannabes. But we have unique styles in this business that I think can help a lot of people. So the first thing that I was told to my first investor in this business was, kid, you better have thick skin. If you don't even go here. He goes, because that's all that most people remember is what Janet Jackson said is, what have you done for me lately? And I always say there's a lot of amnesia in this business, because you can go on a 9-1 heater, and the first thing that they're going to bring up is the one loss. They're not going to talk about the 9 wins. That's all we remember is the loss. And I get it. I truly get it. And as I've said here, very, very clear, and I'm as open as they come. And that's why I pay an accountant to track our bets every day. So you can't say that I'm sitting here skewing the numbers. That's not why we are here. Okay. And so I come on every morning and I talk about the ECSI VIP experience. I tell everyone what we did for the day, what we did for the night, and then I move on. This is a free channel. We are giving out information freely right here. The VIP experience is for a couple hundred clients that paid to get delivered text and email services, games releases, whys, why nots, futures, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. But what we do here morning, noon, and night is to give you what's going on while we're not live and on the air, the market, who's scratched. I was doing that show. And Rudy Gobert got scratched for Utah. They were shorthanded as it is, and there goes Rudy. So the line is still at a flat 11. It moved to 11.5 at DraftKings. But that's what we're here with, to provide you as much information as possible so you can make a clear judgment pick and feel confident about it. You talked about that over the weekend. Feel confident when you go to the window. That's your hard-earned money. And that's what we try to do here, Scott.
Yeah, conviction at the window is extremely important. And it doesn't matter whether you win or you lose. Well, I guess it does. But I mean, as long as you're up there not wishy-washy and you go and you play what you think is the best thing for you to do, that's your plan. And you have to have a plan and a strategy to any endeavor that you take place. We mix life in here every once in a while. And if you don't have a plan in your life, or you don't have a strategy of how you're going to go, you're going to meander everywhere you go, and you're never going to become anything. So it's important to support those things with the actual actions that are conducive to whatever your plan of attack is. And we can help you with a plan of attack. All you got to do is ask. That's the only, and I'm not asking for 8 million questions. Don't get me wrong. But part of this stuff is about helping people. And we have forums and we have things. I posted something today that look at all the contacts that we have and the ways that you can get a hold of us. And no one, I shouldn't say no one. Few people take advantage of that. We try to give as much as we can, and the truth of the matter is, there's not that many people asking for the help.
And I'll close this topic. And if I said it this morning, I apologize. And if I did say it this morning, well, if you weren't here this morning, you're going to hear it again. On TikTok, the GOAT, as he calls himself, Mr. Vegas Dave, was saluting the kick to win one of the games over the weekend. And he called himself the GOAT. That's why I charged $995, meaning $995 for that play. Well, you go into the responses, and there were 10 responses within the first minute that said, "You gave me the other side." So he's out there charging $995 a play, and he's giving out both sides. So I talked about my story in the late 80s, early 90s, working for two services in Boston. That's what they did. That was in the 80s and 90s, before the internet, before cell phones, before anything like that. They would hand you a sheet with 100 names and numbers, and there would be one game on the board. Let's say today's game, New York against Cleveland, and we'll just say Cleveland was -6. I'd call one person up, and you would give them the Knicks +6, and you give the other guy, after you hang up, you'd call the next guy, and you give him Cleveland -6, and it's just the numbers game. And by the end of the day, you get in the next day, there's 50 winners and 50 losers, and that's how that's where the name Scandicappers came from, and that's still going on in 2022, Scott.
Yeah, well, I mean, it's a business practice that works. Otherwise, they wouldn't do it. So there's so many people out there that we're trying to help, because this business is now legal in most states, and because it's legal in most states, now you have all these people that want to play, and now they don't know where to go. So that's what we're here for. So anything that anybody can do to turn them our way is much appreciated. And hopefully everybody kind of gets the impression we're not going to steer you the wrong way. I mean, we might not always be right, and we're not always right, but at the same time, the logic and the straightforwardness of what we're doing is pretty sound. That doesn't necessarily mean that you see the board the right way all the time. So it is what it is, and you just keep moving, and you move on from there.
All right, the board. wagertalk.com/free odds. Anyone listening and wants to follow along or wants to add this to their repertoire, it's free. Ourselves here at ECSI, we pay for Don Best. We play for Sports Insights. Pregame.com is free also. We also use kenpalm.com for the college, which is, I think, $20 a year, which is great information. Well, it depends on how you use it. But anyways, NBA game board, Scott, 2 games postponed, Chicago, Atlanta, and Philly, Houston. Well, actually, Chicago now is playing Oklahoma City, but short NBA board. Anything cross your desk today?
Yeah, I've got one that I think that I'm gonna pull the trigger on here, and it's that Chicago and Oklahoma City game. And when you break down the numbers, my number comes out to Chicago 106 and Oklahoma City 100. So that's 206 points. And it was 214 and a half. And now it's up to, I think, 216, 217, somewhere in there.
217.
And I like the under in that game. So I'm going to go ahead and play it that way. Chicago, they have played the 8th most difficult schedule in the last 5 games. Oklahoma City has played the 3rd most difficult schedule. So the numbers are pretty good. And in those numbers, they've played great defense. So Oklahoma City, not that they're a scoring machine anyway, they have played better than the standard defense by 1%. And Chicago has played worse than the standard defense by 1%. So I think you're going to see not that many points in this game, and I like the game to go under the 217.
All right, I'm going to move the board to the college ranks. It's I say a kind of a big board. Not a lot jumped out to us. Just I'm going to go over the games right now with some movement. Rotation number 867, 868. 7 o'clock tip-off, Florida at Mississippi. Florida opened up -6, now -4, -4.5 at Westgate, 4 across the Vegas Strip elsewhere. 54% of the bets, 59% of the money coming in on Ole Miss. So the line drop of 2 points is correct. It's a Florida team that stung the ECSI family on Saturday. We had Vanderbilt plus, what did we have them? Vandy was plus 5.5 or 6, down 3 at halftime at Florida, and Florida went on a 14-0 run to start the second half, and it was thanks for playing there. The game I really want to talk about is right below it. Anyone here this morning heard me talking about it? It is on my timeline right now, and I'm just going to read my timeline one more time here for you, if I can find it for you. 1 second. Thank you for your patience. Okay. Rotation number 869, 870. NC Wilmington at Northeastern. A game where Northeastern opened up at 3 is now currently -2.5. 66% of the bets, actually 68% of the bets. 87% of the money coming in on NC Wilmington. NC Wilmington comes into the game 11-5, 5-0 in league. Winners of 8 in a row versus a Northeastern team. And before I tell you this, they are butt ugly. They're awful this year. They're 6-12 and losers of 8 in a row. Yet Vegas opened them up -3. Scott, are you going pregame?
I am on pregame.
Can you?
I can get on pregame. How about that? Hold on.
Yeah. Can you pull that game up for me?
You were just talking, and I'm like, oh, let me go see what the KinPom ratings on these guys are. Pregame, Game Center. What number is it again? It's 869, 870, right?
Correct.
Yep, I'm on it. I got it.
What are their numbers saying?
So you got, it's saying 72% of the money, only 54% of the bets are on NC Wilmington.
Okay. How much money's on the game? Probably 10, 12, 13,000?
19,000. The biggest bet game today right now is Florida at 104, Florida, Mississippi. Boston College, Wake Forest has 55,000. And then the most of them are, 10,000, 12,000, whatever. So this is actually, somewhat of a busier bet game, other than, it's not going to never get to a point where it's got $100,000 on it. But, it's for the smaller games, it's pretty popular bet game.
Can you pull the money line there for a second?
Yeah, give me 1 second. Where's it at? Let's go here and let's go money line. Boom. All right. So I don't even see a money line listed. There's no bets on the money line.
What is the money line?
The money line the money line says where's it? Wrong game. I was looking at the wrong game. Why am I not finding this game on here? Oh, there it is. The NC Wilmington plus 115, Northeastern minus 135.
All right, guys. So anyone that knows ECSI, here's the toughest part on this game here, okay? And a lot of experts in these lanes call me crazy. It's, again, consistency. That's all that matters here, okay? So you have some options here. If you played Northeastern minus 2.5, it would be minus 110, okay? So they have to win by 3 or more for you to cash your bet. If it happens to land in 2 or 1 and they win the game, you lose the bet. Okay, that's number 1. Number 2, if you take the 2.5 and buy the half point, it's going to cost you at least minus 120. So if Northeastern wins by 1, you lose your bet. If it lands on 2, you push your bet. So then comes number 3, which is just win, baby. Okay. This game, I just read you all the data, all the numbers. Scotty just read you all the data and all the numbers. Okay. The play here is Northeastern minus 135. Just win. Okay. I'm not going to have you buy a half point to 2 minus 120 or 122, whatever they charge you for your half point, and have them win by 1 and you lose, or have them win by 2 and you push. So the play, very simply, Northeastern minus 135 money line. That would be our freebie to you today. Now, looking at the rest of this board here, you got some some big names. Louisville at Virginia, rotation number 875, 876. Virginia opened at 3.5, now 5. 55% of the bets, 51% of the money on Virginia. Here is where I would sound an alarm bell. Virginia team over unders when it's a Virginia game is 112, 113, 114. This total is up to 123. It's more of a Louisville style game. I'm not telling you to run to the window and play Louisville. Virginia is not the Virginia of old. They are not good this year. Okay, they've lost to some teams that they would have wiped out a couple of years ago by 40 points. I'm just saying the total doesn't match a Virginia number game. That's all I'm saying here. And the line's gone from 3.5 to 5. Okay. Rotation number 879, 880, Virginia Tech at North Carolina. Tech coming off a tough loss. North Carolina has gotten bombarded the last couple games. Now they're finally back home. A game that opened at 4 that is now 4.5 and is now up to 5 plus 100 at DraftKings. 73% of the bets, 88% of the money, all on North Carolina to bounce back here. Rotation number 891, 892, Texas Tech at Kansas. Kansas opened at 6.5, now 8 at Circa, 7.5 across the Vegas Strip. 61% of the bets, 55% of the money, all on Texas Tech. Yet the line is creeping up the other way, so there's some reverse line movement on Kansas. Scotty, are you at Ken Palm?
I am.
Okay. Do me a favor. Click on Kansas for me. I want to say these two teams played 10 days ago, but I could be mistaken them.
Oh, well, I'm on Ken Palm, but they want me to sign up for them.
Okay. All right.
I just have their rankings. That's all I got. I can get it a different way. Hold on. I've got a Vegas Insider up. I can get it real quick right there, real fast.
I know Tech is a dog knocked off Baylor and someone else back to back. Maybe it wasn't Kansas. For some reason, I'm thinking it was Kansas. So
Kansas. Here we go. And you want to see if they played Texas Tech?
yeah,
They played Texas Tech on January 8th.
and they lost, correct?
Yeah, they were -7 at Texas Tech, and they got beat by 8.
Okay, guys. So this is when Texas Tech started rolling. Okay, so just do some basic math here. They were -7 at Tech, and Tech won the game outright. So now they're coming back home, and they were only opened up as 6.5-point favorites. Okay, so technically that number should be around 10. So you got two teams kind of sort of going in different directions. Vegas is not going to allow you to back up to the bank and just unload on Texas Tech today. They opened it at 6.5. They get in their Kansas money, and it's now up to as high as 8. So again, people are expecting a bounce back here on Kansas, a revenge angle there. We're staying away there. Seton Hall against St. John's, rotation number 893, 894. The Hall opened up at 9, now a flat 7 across the Vegas Strip. 71% of the bets, 82% of the money coming in on the Johnnies. So the number is moving in the right direction. I will just tell you this. The Hall is getting healthy. They're playing a lot better. This St. John's team is a Jekyll and Hyde team. If you get the good St. John's team, yes, they will cover. Okay. But I think Seton Hall is your more consistent play there. I actually would lean the other way here towards the Seton Hall, stay off the public side. 71% of the bets, 82% of the money all coming in on St. John's. I would lean the Hall here. You might be able to get a 6.5 by tip off. UNLV at San Diego State, rotation number 897, 898. San Diego State opened at 10, now 10.5. Again, UNLV receiving 54% of the money, 61% of the bets. San Diego State team, if I remember correctly, was upset earlier this weekend. Again, the number was set high for a reason. They're looking for UNLV money. They're getting it. So I would lean San Diego State here to win by obviously double digits or more. And the true Jekyll and Hyde team of this year's college ranks, the Arizona State Sun Devils. They're sure not the Sun Devils this year. And Bobby Hurley, how he still has a job, I don't know. Traveling to USC, who came out of the gates, guns are blazing, who has now come back down to earth. 50% of the bet, 68% of the money all coming in on USC. Opened at 13, now a flat 12. So there is some reverse line movement on Arizona State. Scotty, if you Venmoed me $100 to bet on Arizona State, I would Venmo you $200 back and tell you to take the wife out for dinner. I'm sorry, I wouldn't touch them.
Hey, Jeff, just in looking at that San Diego State team, and I don't know them that well, but they played on January the 22nd. They played Boise State. They were favorites of 4.5, and they played previous to that January 1st, and they played previous to that December the 22nd. So this will be their fourth game in basically a month.
They had a COVID issue, and again, it takes some of these teams 2 and 3 games, sometimes 4, to get their sea legs. I will say I have seen teams come off a month break and come out guns a-blazing. So each coach, each team's different. I know San Diego State's coming off a couple of – did San Diego State, they lost this weekend, right?
San Diego State played January 22nd, which is what, 3 days ago? 2 days ago? They played at home against Boise State, which is the first game basically since New Year's Day. And they were 4.5-point favorites. And I don't know what happened in this game, but they lost 37-42. How can you only have 37 to 42 points? So did they just cancel the game at halftime or some shit? So
well, I hope everyone had the under in that game.
So they did play UNLV on January 1st, and they were 3-point favorites on the road, and they beat them 62-55.
Okay. Hockey tonight, again, kind of a pretty big slate. Nothing jumping off. The Kings at the Rangers. Some reverse line movement on the Kings. Probably the best game on the board, Vegas at Washington. This caught my eye early, and I thought this line would go the other way. Washington opened up -125, now -138. 61% of the bets, 82% of the money, all on the Capitals. As everyone knows that listens here, if we go against Washington, the first goal will be by Ovi, and the next two goals after that will be assisted by Oshie. So another Jekyll and Hyde team, so we'll stay away. I did lean Vegas, though, on the small dog there. Dallas at Philly. 75% of the bets, 100% of the money coming in on Dallas. They've gone from 140 to now minus 160, a Philly team that is just putrid right now. The Bruins opened up minus 270, now minus 245, facing the Ducks. 75% of the bets, 80% of the money on the Bruins, yet the lines dropped 25 cents there. Minnesota opened up minus 330, now 350, a Canadian team that is. We have Andrew on from Wager Talk every Thursday, and I pick his brain about it. What a run they had last year from the bubble all the way to the cup, and this is just an entirely different team. Colorado hosting the Blackhawks, opened at 290, now minus 305. And another game that's interesting here, St. Louis at Calgary. Calgary opened up minus 130, now minus 159. They're receiving 67% of the bets, 95% of the money. That line has jumped 29 cents. A Blues team that's been playing better. Again, a Blues team, when I try to get in front of it, it's bitten me in the butt a few times. I want everyone to notice this if you haven't noticed. Watch this team in the second period. We had them on January 1st. They scored 5 goals in the second, and then 2 games later, they scored 4 goals. And I saw them again last week get shut out in the first period and score 3 goals. So whatever they're doing after the first period is working there. So that's a quick run of the board. Again, the one game, again, it just makes absolutely no sense, 0 cents. Northeastern, again, they're minus 2.5. I would play it safe, minus the 135 on the money line there. Just win. Anyone with any questions, comments, concerns, games that they're looking at, something you don't understand, you can follow myself at EC Sports Invest. You can then direct message me there. You can send us an email at eastcoastsportsinvestors@gmail.com. And obviously, you can follow my co-host here, my partner, Scotty Webb at Webby20MLB. Scotty, close it out.
Well, I think that this is a recovery day for most people after the weekend. And I think if it is, then just make it that way for yourself and enjoy what you got and rest, relax. You're not going to pick a winner for next Sunday's games today anyway. So just relax and go from there and follow up and see what's going on. I will tell you this. The MLB union met today with the players organization. I think that the communication was at best described as contentious. I think you're going to hear that term a lot. But I will say that they have agreed to meet tomorrow. So I think that is a positive sign towards trying to resolve things. I don't think that anybody thinks that they're going to resolve anything today or tomorrow. But I think that's a step in the right direction, and that's a positive sign. So hopefully we get something resolved here because I don't want to go write a baseball book and then not have baseball.
I heard a few weeks ago under over 152 for regular season games this year. You taking the under or the over?
I think that MLB doesn't want to play 162 anymore. I think they want to play that 150-ish type number and then expand the playoffs is what I think they want to do. Now, if the players buy into that, okay, great, then that's what they buy into. But I think that's what happens there in these negotiations is all about the money. If you get 10 less games, you get 10 less paydays because you're not playing in those games anymore. But if you make the playoffs, then the incentive is that you're not going to tank and that you're going to be able to get bonuses that make up for those 10 games and maybe even more so if you're on those teams. So I can see how they do this stuff. But I'm going to say they stay at 162. They'll probably stay at 162 forever. I would say they're going to play it. Now, based on the season this year and whether they start on time or not, I would say they probably are under. I think they're going to play about 150 games this year.
So Scotty Webb is taken under 152 again. I hate when this gets pushed back. We're coming off 2 years ago, a 60-game season, a sport that is leaking, a sport that needs a jump start. We know the ramifications if there was a lockout into April, May, and June, and they try to throw us a curveball, no pun intended, and say, well, we're going to play an 80-game schedule and this. By then, people have gone on to other sports. They're just going to shut it down. I always talk about the dog days of summer in our business is the fact that once you get, through March Madness, you get to supposedly the opening pitch, you get through the NHL and NBA playoffs and championships, you get to what we call is the All-Star break. And then there's 6 weeks until football. And the true diehards grind it out. That's what we do here. But there's a lot of them that will wave that white flag and say, you know what? It's summertime. Kids are home. I'm going to go away to my vacation home. I'm going to take it off. I'm going to build that bankroll back up. And I'm just going to kill them in the sport that I know the most in, and which is football, which we all know. 3 things in football. 1, everyone knows everything. 2, everyone has a favorite team. And 3, no one knows anything.
Yeah, I mean, football is the most popular sport that people bet. And it's also because of that, the most difficult lines to beat. Baseball is a little different. It's hard to beat too, but it's hard to beat because of how you bet. And it's hard to beat because there's 160 games. Which means that on any given day, somebody might come up and go, I don't want to play today. And the team just doesn't show up. Not like in baseball or basketball where they holy crap, the basketball stuff is crazy sometimes. But, my thing is all baseball. I mean, that's how I got into this stuff. That's how I got started in these things. And then developed into the sabermetrics part of the baseball world. And that's what's led me into the sabermetrics part of the world, into football and into to basketball. And there are some sabermetric stuffs in hockey. I've got the data. I just haven't written the stuff to make it all play out yet. So anyway, all that stuff being said, I'm interested in how this thing plays out, and love my summers, man, when baseball starts. And to be honest with you, I am so glad when football starts, only because I know baseball's coming to an end, and I have grinded for month in baseball, and I'm ready for it to be over by the time it gets ready to go. So it's that sport, right, where you sit here and you go, holy crap, a baseball's coming out. The smell of the gloves and the pop of the bat and the gloves, and it's all the crack and all that stuff. And then all of a sudden it's like, holy shit, I've been doing this now for day after day after day after day after day after day. And I'm ready for a break.
Thank everyone who followed us this morning, last week, last month, and the start of 2022. Do us a favor. Get on over to YouTube at East Coast Sports Investors. Just subscribe. It's free. That's all. And then if you got one more second, head on over to Twitch at East Coast Sports Investors. Subscribe. Turn on your notifications. Never miss a show. And if you do miss a show, you can always go back to YouTube. They're there. We got about almost 170 now shows up there for everyone to listen to. Hold on. So with that being said, if you are wagering tonight, always wager with your head, not your heart. If you have a problem, pick up that phone. There's an 800 number there. Ask for help. Why? Because we care. We want you here today, tomorrow, next week, next month, through 2022 and beyond. For myself, Jeff Dawson at EC Sports Invest, and Scotty Webb at Webby 20 MLB. I always want to throw it the opposite there, Scotty. We wish you the great Monday. Enjoy yourself. Stay in your lane. Always invest and wager responsibly. And we will see you bright and early tomorrow morning for the Breakfast Bankroll.